us an opportunity, a tangible opportunity that will transform your life and the life of everyone around you. What is the opportunity? It's SWIFTtrip. Now, before I proceed, let me introduce myself. I am Favor Orinami-Ayo, the personal assistant to the CEO, Honorable Richard Nadi, and the national admin of SWIFTtrip. Now, what is SWIFTtrip? SWIFTtrip is a Web 3.0 decentralized mobility and commerce service providing platform. All of these things are big English. Let me break it down for you. Now, SWIFTtrip is simply an app that connects a passenger and a driver in order to solve a mobility need. It connects a buyer and a seller in order to solve their need. Now, are there companies that are already performing all of these things? Yes. When we're talking about mobility, we are talking about mobility. It is divided into two, of which we have the road transport and the air transport. We have commerce, we have logistics. Okay, so these are the services we are rendering. And like I said earlier on, are there companies performing all of these services? Yes. When we're talking about the mobility, the road transport, we have the Uber, the Bolt. All of these are e-taxi companies. When we're talking about aviation, you can tell that we have so many airports all over the world. When we're talking about commerce, we are talking about platforms like the Jumia, the Gigi, name them. Logistics, we have God is Good. So all of these things are already in existence. But do you know there is one thing that makes SWIFTtrip unique? Of course there is. What is that? It is no other than the PYC. What does it stand for? Pay your customers. You're shocked, right? Okay. Now, SWIFTtrip is the first company globally that will put their customers on payroll. What do I mean? Whenever a passenger, whenever a customer patronizes the company, they earn from that patronage. Hasn't been done before? No. Gone are the days whereby companies only deal on the KYC, which is Know Your Command. We are saying today, any company, any business that refuses to pay their customers, they will fizzle out in less time. So do not joke with SWIFTtrip. We're telling you, SWIFTtrip is going to make you in dollars. Yes, why? Because what we are building is a system that pays you even while you are sleeping. It will pay you efficiently, effortlessly, consistently. Yes, it's a global business. Now I want to quickly take you on this. How will this PYC be implemented? This pay your customer, how is it going to happen? Now, let's quickly look at this. Imagine that we've launched business. And after the launch of business, a transaction happens here in Nigeria. And that transaction that will cost the passenger, the customer, 2,000 naira. Now we're assuming someone that wants to book a ride. Remember or note that in SWIFTtrip, whatever amount that person pays, it is considered 2,000 naira. Now it is considered 100%. Now that 2,000 naira, which is now 100%, let's look at how it will be distributed and also how that customer who booked that ride will benefit. Now let's look at this. From that 2,000 naira, 80% of 2,000 naira goes to the driver, who is the service provider. 10% goes to the platform. The platform is who? The company. We are the platform providers. We are not the service provider. The service providers are the drivers. Okay, now 10% goes to the platform for what? For global expansion. 10% plus 80% is how many percent? 90%. We have 1% left, 10%. What happens to the 10%? From that 10% that is left, 5% goes to the subscribers, the owners, the shareholders of SWIFTtrip, the customers builder or the foundation customers builder of SWIFTtrip. Okay, 5% goes to them. 5% plus 90%, 95%. We have how many percent left? 5%. Now look at this. From that 5% that is left, 2% goes to the passenger who booked the ride, which is the PYC we are talking about. Then the 3% is being shared to customers and the drivers referral chain, of which the first generation gets 1%, the second generation gets 0.3%, the third generation and the fourth generation gets 0.2% respectively, both from the driver and the passenger side. So if you sum it up, 3 plus 97%, that is a total of 100%. Now, I've been able to show you that. I want to quickly look at this. How you, as a subscriber of this business, will benefit, because I know that is where business tycoons like you and I would want to know and want to fall in. Now, how will I profit from this business? There are two kinds of subscribers in SWIFTtrip. We have the stakeholders and the node holders. Who are the stakeholders? These are people that come in with a large sum of money, of which the least is how much? 2 million naira. And you coming in with 2 million naira, it simply means you own an ownership percentage of 0.0 in 3 places 5%. And the highest, which is the dealer slot, goes for how much? 128 million naira. And it simply means you are owning a percentage of 0.05%. If you come in with that amount. We have different slots. We have the standard, we just name it. There are a lot of them. Now, that is for the stake slot. Now, we have the other, which is the node slot. It is actually for the crowd, for our mummies in the market, for the students in school, for the butcher, the wheelbarrow butcher. So long you can see this, so long it resonates with you, it is for you. How much does it cost today? 5%. But if you're hearing this, if you're listening to me now, I have the good news for you. We are on promo. If you want to know the promo price, contact me and I will let you, because this now increases by 500 naira every day. Okay, now I'm going to show you the different levels of subscribers in SWIFTtrip. Alright, now I want to take you on a journey on how you're going to earn in the future by the time this business launch. Business type, I believe this is the piece. Please still borrow me your imagination. Let's imagine SWIFTtrip has launched business in Nigeria and a trip happened, one trip happened, which is 2,000 naira, for instance. Remember, that trip will be very flexible depending on the kilometer and the distance covered. But for a trip that costs a passenger 2,000 naira, what will you, as a dealer holder that's come in or came in with 128 million naira earn? And also, what will you, as a node holder, earn? Now, for a trip that costs a passenger 2,000 naira, you will do 2,000 naira times the volume of your share as a node holder, which is 0.05%. What are you going to get? You're going to get 1 naira. Then, as a node holder, a trip that costs a passenger 2,000 naira, you do 2,000 naira times your volume of share, which is 0.0 in 5 places 125%. What are you getting? 0.0 in 425 kobo. Okay, now that is for a trip. I know somebody will be very mad. How can I come in with 108 million naira and you're showing me 1 naira? Okay, now let's look at 5 years from now. Remember, what we are doing will not, for one, they lack patronage. Yes, transportation is business that can never lack patronage. Let's look at 5 years from now. Since this thing I'm talking about is going to happen in volume, we are at a worst case scenario, and we are saying this worst case scenario, SWIFT will perform 50 million trip in the space of 5 years after the launch of business. What would your profit as a dealer holder have amounted to, and also what will your profit as a node holder must have amounted? Now we do it like this. We still say all of these 50 trillion trip, they all cost 2,000 naira. Is it possible? No, because all trip in the world cannot cost 2,000 naira. But just for calculation's sake, we don't do 1,000 naira times 50 trillion naira. The figure, what you will see, looks like an error, but it's not an error. What you will see is 1.E17, that's 1 exponential 17. Then you times 1 exponential 17 by the volume of your share as a dealer holder, which is 0.05%. What you will get is 50 trillion naira, which is 5 exponential 13, 5 and 13 zeros. That is for the dealer holder. Now let's look at the node holder. The node holder, how much will you get? Do the same calculation. 2,000 naira times 50 trillion trip. 50 trillion is 50 and 12 zeros. Okay, you will still get 1 exponential 17, which is 1.E17. You times that by the volume of your share as a node holder, which is 0.0 in 5 places 125%. What you will get is 1,250 million naira. So you can see that a business you came in with as little as 100,000 naira has yielded for you 1,250 million naira. Please, would you say this business is a bad business, even if you are to let it stay for 50 years, 40 years, and knowing that you came into this business with 100,000 naira, seeing that the business you came in with 100,000 naira in the space of 50 years has yielded for you 1,250 million naira? Please, will you say that business is a bad business? No. Do not SWIFTtrip, because if you Meet SWIFTtrip, you will never forget the name SWIFT.